Did somebody at the Biden administration or in the Biden administration update this guidance for political reasons?
No. Our North Star has been listening to the guidance of our health and medical experts and teams, and that's exactly what we're doing in this case.
The White House playing defense after Republicans claim the announcement on mask wearing was meant to distract from other problems facing President Biden. And the CDC director, she's taking heat over her dramatic turn in messaging after previously warning of impending doom. That was just a few weeks ago. A former top health official taking issue with comments like that.
But this has been a crazy week. Just last week, the CDC said unless we continue everything, masking, social distancing, cases would go up. Wednesday night, Dr. Walensky was doubling down on masking. Yesterday morning, Tony Fauci said, yeah, we still have to mask in groups outside and, of course, inside, and then a complete turnaround yesterday afternoon. We got to the right place, but boy, it has been a mess of messaging.
But not everyone is on board with the new mask rules. Many blue states are still evaluating their mandates. And some in the media, well, they say it's going to take a while for Americans to adapt.
I feel like I'm going to have to rewire myself so that when I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat or you are selfish or you are a COVID denier and you definitely haven't been vaccinated. I mean, we're going to have to rewire the way that we look at each other.
Will Cain, let me start with you. I think it's been good news coming from the CDC, but here we see Rachel Maddow saying she's going to have to rewire her thinking. What does Will Cain say?
Well, I can't follow you, Juan, on this idea that it's good news. I don't feel like any finish line was crossed. I feel like this is science in the CDC, and let me say science in quotation marks, following common sense. This is something that everyday Americans have known for months, that you can walk around outside and even inside if you're vaccinated without a mask. No, the White House and the CDC have made these decisions for political reasons, and we can debate what those political reasons may be. But I do find it fascinating, as you asked me about Rachel Maddow, because what that reveals to me is even for everyday people walking around, this has been about something more than science. Rachel Maddow and many were finding their cheap, unearned virtue in wearing a mask when someone else did not. They saw themselves as believers in science. Now they've lost their identity, Juan. They have literally been left naked, not at the face, but in the terms of not having an identity anymore. They don't know how to project their supremacy, their virtue over you anymore. It was never about science for them.
All right. Well, Jesse, you just heard Will say he thinks it's about politics and virtue signaling. But, you know, I noticed 70% of Americans think that President Biden's done a great job on handling the pandemic. So did he just pass the biggest test of his presidency?
I'm just trying to come to terms with Will Cain's Rachel Maddow naked analogy. Just give me a minute. Got it.
I meant her identity.
I do know this one. Remember Slick Willie? Remember Slick Willie? He was wagging the dog. He was lobbing cruise missiles into the Mideast during the height of the Lewinsky scandal. That's all this is. This is PR 101. And you know what it was because that morning, this mask announcement wasn't on the Biden White House schedule. And he was late for the announcement. Now, Biden has the lightest schedule since Eisenhower. He doesn't do much each day. And so when they add to his schedule, it's a really big deal. And he was late. And that's because they were scrambling to get this out here. He doesn't watch cable news, the president. He only reads the newspapers. And the other morning, all over every newspaper, especially the Washington Post, big stories about how inflation, the labor shortage, and gas prices were all converging to upset his infrastructure deal and upset the recovery. So they played this card. And Trump did it all the time. So can you blame him? He was a lot better at it. He did it with his fingers or his mouth and sent the press scrambling. So when Biden does it, not too good at it. So it's a little blatant when he does it. I did get excited in the beginning when they made the announcement. I thought, great, no masks. And then I realized it was just federal guidance. So they're saying I can not wear a mask when I go inside a federal building. When am I ever in a federal building, Juan? When I go to the post office? I never go to the post office. In New York, de Blasio and Cuomo and all the restaurant owners still make me wear a mask. So it's status quo. If you're in a red state, probably no mask mandate. Blue state, you still have it. So unless you're in a post office, this doesn't do much for me.
Huh. Well, Kennedy, in fact, picking up on Jesse's thought there, Nancy Pelosi says you still have to wear a mask on the House floor. And I think part of her rationale is like the New York Yankees just had an outbreak, and they've all been vaccinated, but like 8 members of their traveling, I believe one of the players even, still got the virus. How do you make sense of this?
Well, as an epidemiologist, Juan, I'm really glad you asked me that question because I've got some charts and data here to outline everything for you. With Nancy Pelosi, it's really just about control, and she won't listen to science. She has many doctors in the House of Representatives who could explain to her that natural immunity from people who've already had the virus, plus people who've been vaccinated and have received immunity that way, that's enough people that if they choose to not wear masks, they shouldn't have to wear masks. So this is the government fighting with itself. And we're not talking about a 15-degree shift with some positive numbers about hospitalizations and deaths being down. We are talking about a 180-degree turn in the opposite direction in a number of weeks. Jen Psaki says that the North Star is the medical experts, and they follow the medical experts. Well, the medical experts are following the teachers union. So science is really the last entity in line here that is informing some of these decisions. It is absolutely wag the dog, but at least the dog is being wagged in the right direction, in the direction of freedom, and I will take that.
That's a good point. So, Martha, I think lots of people on the right, in fact, wanted the CDC and Joe Biden to say, you don't need to wear the mask if you've been vaccinated. And yet here we are, and people are criticizing them for saying don't wear the mask. So is this just partisan politics?
Yeah, it's a lot of partisan politics. It's a lot of White House opportunism in terms of timing, because, yes, it's been a really lousy week for the Biden administration. The truth is that across the country, there have been a lot of places that have lifted the mask mandates a long time ago. So those folks are wondering what everybody's so excited about. And as Jesse points out, in New York, they're still going to hang on to their masks for a while. But the thing I want to make a point about here is herd immunity, which was sort of, like a dirty word. You weren't allowed to talk about herd immunity. The fact of the matter is that the reason they were able to make this decision from the CDC is that we have 36% of the country vaccinated, and Kennedy was just touching on this point. Not too long ago, Dr. Fauci said you'd have to get to 70 or 80%. He basically pushed back Marty Makary, the doctor that we all talked to a lot on Fox, who said that we were getting really close to herd immunity. He said it was probably going to happen in the end of April. So what happened is you've got about a third of the country fully vaccinated. Suddenly you started to see all of the case numbers dropping and the death numbers dropping. The reason for that is because there are fewer and fewer places for the virus to go, and that's because a lot of people had it who didn't know they had it, or they have T-cell immunity. So all of the theories that Marty Makary has been talking about for some time in a very logical, straightforward way that were basically mocked by Dr. Fauci have given them this opportunity to get to the point that they got to yesterday, and they did it at a moment that they really needed it. But that is the fact. It's difficult to see this any other way.
Well, I hope you're comfortable now without the mask, Martha. Are you going to have to change like Rachel Maddow?
I was forgetting it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm the person who had to use like the disposable one all the time because I was constantly forgetting to bring it. I will have no problem dropping the mask. I will be thrilled to drop the mask. Rachel Maddow can keep her mask on if she wants to for as long as she likes. I think it's really sad that she looked at people as a threat, as an anti-vaxxer, as someone who was basically had some sort of evil intention because they were outside and they were walking in the area where she was walking. Guess how many traceable cases there are of COVID transmission outside? Next to none. Next to none.
Fret
okay,
not, Martha.
so
Fret
that
not.
that whole idea,
that
whole idea
Okay.
was a fallacy to begin with, and we now know that.
She'll find a new way to feel superior.
Yeah,
I promise you.
we know that now.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.